I guess favorite dreams is when I'm able to help people. One in particular, I helped a man from committing suicide and kind of saved him from that. He was going to, jump and, talked him down, but it wasn't really talking. I'll get, I guess, more about that a little bit later. But, and another one, I was helping a person with identity crisis, which that one's probably one of the more vivid ones that I can kind of remember after, waking up in this reality, I guess we'll say. So that's probably the one that we'll probably talk about the most.
Yeah, why don't we just start there? Why don't you start from the beginning with that particular dream and kind of tell the story and walk us through it?
Okay, so I was drifting off to sleep just like normal. And I saw from kind of like a bird's eye view, Jeep, green, and it was going down a highway. And it looked like it was probably around 80s or something like that, just by the way everything looked. And I kind of floated down into the Jeep. Again, I realized I didn't have a body or anything like that. It's not like that. And I saw in the back seat what appeared to be a woman, but I knew different. I was knowledgeable that that was not a woman, but a man who identified as female. And I could tell that and feel how they were feeling. Again, there's no conversation that happens in these dreams. There's no speaking, no mouth movement, no words. I can feel everything they feel, and I can project my feelings onto them. And they would know what I'm saying. So as I see her looking out the window, and she's just contemplating and just feeling really depressed about not knowing who she is, and just trying to come to terms with it. Whether she's man, woman, if so, why born this way? Why does she feel otherwise? And I could tell that my role was to help her through this. So I, did this like I do in the other dreams. And again, there's nobody else in the Jeep that can see me, except for her. And, she knows that I'm not, a body or anything like that. But I could also tell that she knew who I was and I knew who she was. And the feeling I got was, this is me from another reality. Like I was this person as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, she was me too, from probably a past or alternate dimension is what I got the feeling of. So what I projected onto her was that, we're all the same. From things that I've been listening to in the spiritual community, I feel that, all of us are all connected to God, whether male, female, that's just a body. That's not who you are. Your spirit doesn't have a sex type.
Right.
And that's what I was in that dream was my spirit. And that's what I try to convey to her in the message, is that this is just limited time on this planet. You shouldn't have to worry about that. What we really should, convey is that we all love each other. And, I just kind of focus my love and light onto her and just let her know that, hey, this is just temporary. It's just a body. And, we're all together. We're all as one. We're all part of God. We're all part of this universe. And, your anatomy doesn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
And she could feel that, obviously there was more love in my message than what I'm speaking with my words. And I think that's why it worked so well, is because she could feel the love that I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those things can't be expressed through words. Maybe the closest thing we might have is a hug,
Right. Yeah.
But
I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's words obviously we use to express emotion, but it's not the emotion itself. So it sounds to me like when you became this this spirit form, or where you were just your spirit instead of, like you said, using words to express feelings, you were feeling it. You were the feeling itself. You were just the embodiment of love. And that's what you continued to, give off and give her so that she could accept who she is, no matter what kind of crisis she had going on internally.
Exactly. Like a spiritual mind hug,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. 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 So that's really neat. Just to kind of put it into perspective a little bit for the listeners, explain a little bit more of the visual detail that you remember from this dream so that they can see just how vivid this is.
Yeah. So I mean, I could tell that, we're driving down a highway. As I mentioned, it was kind of like an 80s, early 90s kind of feel from the way they were dressed. The longer collars on her shirt. She had a jacket, black hair that was kind of, I don't know, maybe neck length, flipped out, um, like it was flat ironed. And I could tell she, wasn't, I guess, fully Caucasian. Maybe like a grandfather or grandmother might have been of some type of maybe Asian descent. I can just tell just within the eyes and facial features and cheekbones. Um, and Yeah, it definitely gave me just kind of like an 80s, early 90s feel
Yeah.
To it. So it was a little bit, earlier than what we are in our time in this reality right now. And if y'all kind of remember 80s, 90s, the LGBTQ plus community wasn't as, accepting as it is now. So
Right.
it's very torn. And I say she because that's what, she identified as. But, as I told her, I was like, hey, I could tell that that was me in a past life. And I'm like, hey, I'm you too.
Or an alternate life. Yeah.
Or an alternate life. Yeah. So, and that's kind of what I was expressing to her is, hey, I'm you too. No matter what you identify as, you're human. We're all human. And,
Yeah. And you helped
about.
her, right? Like that, if I remember correctly, like you said, you could tell that truly helped heal parts of her soul that was struggling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was, I know that worked. Just like I've had in the other dreams that, where I was dream walking or whatever you want to call it, that she was truly healed,
Yeah.
that she accepted the message. And, it didn't matter what she dressed like or wore or how she spoke, um, who she was with, who she looked like, what she was, wearing or feeling at that time, she was healed. It was definitely like a healing touch. And I didn't mention this, but I was looking on the outside, but when I was conveying my message, it's like I went inside of her mind, like pushed my flow to her, like touched her and was kind of like one with her, if that makes sense, so that she could feel it. And that's what I did in kind of all of the other ones that I've had.
Yeah.
The one we spoke about earlier on this, with talking the guy down from the ledge, it wasn't talking. It was like I went inside him, kind of like I was his
Yeah.
his consciousness and or conscience,
Yeah.
so to speak.